I think at the end of the day, talent is the biggest issue that pretty much every company in the world faces. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about agencies or even digital companies, and it doesn't matter if you're North America or in Southeast Asia. It's the same issue for absolutely everybody. And I think the answers are relatively simple. You have to provide people the opportunity to do the things that excite them, that challenge them, and that put them in a position where they feel that they have the ability to build their career and their own personal skill set. And on that basis, the onus is on all agencies as well as all businesses in general in order to provide a platform for people, to provide a place for people, to provide opportunities to people where they can actually push themselves. For the agencies, and I run a consultancy business, and it's exactly the same for us. People talk about the assets walking out the door every night, and it's absolutely true. We only thrive if we have fantastic people working for us. And that's 3 or 4 things. You've got to attract them in the first place. Then you've got to be able to develop them and move their careers forward, and you've got to retain them over the long term. Because when people are with you for a longer period of time, they contribute more, they know more, they have an opportunity to move up within the organization and bring their history with them. So in a funny sort of way, it's a little bit like you need to invest in the future, but also in the past. In other words, the people who are already with you. And I think one of the big challenges that companies have is that a lot of them spend a lot of time thinking about the acquisition of talent and not maybe enough time thinking about the development and retention of talent over time. I think, talent development is relatively straightforward. You have to understand the individual, because different people move at different paces and they have different requirements from their career at different times in their lives. So the first thing you need is a pair of ears to make sure that you're actually in touch with what's going on. The second thing is recognizing where and when people need help or where and when they need opportunity. Some people need to be trained in order for them to be able to do their job better. Some people need to be trained in order to be able to move them faster through an organization and be able to get the most out of them, and for more to the point, for them to get the most out of you as an employer. So I think those 2 things are relatively straightforward. The tricky bit comes with looking after people over time, because within any organization, there are always the star performers, and there's always the people who aren't doing quite what they should be. And then there's a large group of people in the middle. And all too often, companies focus at the extremes rather than making sure that what you might call the bedrock or the foundation of your business is being well looked after. I think, diversity obviously in some countries in the world has now become a matter of statistics, where people are literally looking at, most companies in their annual reports will give some kind of indication of ethnic diversity. Quite often though, what happens is it gets hidden within global numbers, shall we say. So if you have a company who's operating all around the world, then you would expect their talent pool at least to reflect where they operate. The bigger issue, I think, is about creating diversity within individual cultures or countries. And I think, to be honest, there's a big question about whether or not you need to be highly proactive about that. And I think some companies do need to, where they've allowed themselves over time to not have enough men and women, not have enough different religious backgrounds, not have enough different ethnic backgrounds. For a creative business, actually that's fuel to the fire, because what you want is different perspectives, different points of view, different backgrounds. And of course, most companies deal with a highly different group of people as far as their customers are concerned. So if you're not in some way representative of the people you serve or the people you're marketing to, then you're not actually doing yourself right. So although many companies seem to be treating it as a means of trying to get the right percentages in the right place, what I would say is that it's about getting diversity for the sake of being a better business. Talent and brands are completely interlinked. What companies want to do nowadays, they want to grow. And it's one of the biggest challenges that businesses face around the world. How do I grow my business? Well, in order to grow your business, you actually need to start with your people. And your people's relationship with your company is largely through its brand. We obviously have individual relationships with our managers, our colleagues, our peers, whoever they might be, but we also have a relationship with the company built around what we believe it to be, and therefore what we are part of. So brands are massively important as an employer proposition. And if you haven't got that right, and you can over-egg the pudding, I suppose, so that when people walk through the door, it's not what they expected. They were told I don't know what, the talent wash, I guess you could call it, where you're telling a story to the market, but it's not quite the truth as to what happens on the inside. Or the worst case scenario is that people just don't recognize the great opportunities that exist within your business because they don't have a full understanding of what you stand for as a brand. Brands are a simple way for people to choose, to understand. They give personality and almost human characteristics to businesses. That's very important when you're trying to attract human beings to be your employees. There's always an incredible array of different inputs, and I think, I used to come here 20 years ago and it's changed a lot since then. It's much more diverse, interestingly enough, in terms of the people who are here. So you used to have film producers and people from advertising agencies. Now you've got people from technology, you've got clients of all types. We have people from the entertainment industry here. So it's a great pool of inspiration. But the main thing really is what goes on downstairs in this building, which is the work. It's here to show what's the best in the world of marketing, what's the best in the world of creativity that we can all learn from.